And at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the next state senator from Senate District 10, Jake Chapman.
Thank you. It's great to be with you. I'm proud to call Adel my home. I grew up here in Adel, about 10 blocks just west of here, and happy to still raise my family here. You know, there's an old proverb that says it's always darkest before the dawn. Well, this administration has taken us to the darkest hour. But the dawn is breaking, and there's something we're going to do. Because on November 6th, we will elect Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, and we will show the world that it's morning in America. With the crass, unconstitutional usurpation of power by the executive branch of the federal government, this administration has led us into critical times and to a critical crossroads. When I look at Congressman Ryan and Governor Romney, I see bold leaders. I see leaders with solutions. I see leaders who will tell us the truth and will get things done and make a positive impact. On the contrary, we can continue down this path that Barack Obama has taken us. 25 million Americans without jobs. As you just heard yesterday, $16 trillion in debt. That is immoral, it is feckless, and it's time we replace Barack Obama. And you know, frankly, he continues to point the blame. If he wants to point the finger of blame, he can stand in front of a mirror because he built it and he owns it. Furthermore, this administration has focused on the centralization of power of the federal government, and in doing so has weakened our local and state governments to nothing more than federal field offices. Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney take seriously the oath of office. They take seriously the responsibility to uphold the Constitution of the United States. They understand that in the wisdom of our forefathers, in their wisdom, they placed the 10th Amendment in the Constitution that secures the right of sovereign states and limits the power of the federal government. We're fortunate here in Iowa to have a Republican-controlled House and governor. But let me tell you, it is vitally important that we win back the Senate this fall. Let me remind you of what Mike Gronstal and Senate Democrats have done. They've blocked legislation that would allow us our right to vote on a marriage amendment defining marriage as one man and one woman. They have successfully blocked legislation that would ban late-term abortions and stop taxpayer-funded abortions. They blocked legislation that would require voters to show an ID. I stand with our Secretary of State, and we will pass legislation that will require voters to show ID. I grew up in the private sector. My father built several successful businesses. And there's something I have to get off my chest. I understand President Obama has not worked in the private sector, and I understand he may not realize that we can build businesses, but we did build it, and we don't have to owe our credit to someone that built a road or a bridge. As I work in our family business to build a future for my family, I've become increasingly troubled and frustrated with intrusion of the government and stifling economic growth in this state. I will fight as your next state senator in this district to decrease the burdens on Iowa businesses, to decrease the burdens on you and your family, and will implement policies that will incentivize entrepreneurship and encourage investment in Iowa. The stakes are high. It's vital that we take back the Senate and we send Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan to the White House. If there are times when you're discouraged that you're only one, let me remind you of the words of Edward Everett Hale, who says, "I am only one, but I am one. I can't do everything, but I can do something. What I can do, I ought to do, and what I ought to do, by the grace of God, I shall do." And I just want to encourage each of you, though you may be one, we can make a difference, and we will make a difference in sending Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan to the White House November 6th.